Now, I know it doesn't exactly look like it, but this really is a new Honda Civic. In fact, it's the 9th generation in the last 30 years. It's an incredibly important car, obviously for Honda, but also for manufacturing in the UK, where it will be built in Swindon, just like the last one. Now, Honda says it's better in every way that matters than the last one, and I guess given that it's been 6 years since the last one, we should expect no less than that. Question is it as good as a Golf and a Focus? I think we should go and find out. Honda says that this is a new car, but it is, in fact, what it appears to be, a highly developed version of the old car. Now, there's nothing wrong with that approach in principle. The current Golf, the class-leading car, is no more than a highly developed version of the old Golf. But the point is, the old Golf was a car that we absolutely loved. It was, without any question, the best car in its class, which is something that you'd never have been able to say about the last Civic. On paper, there doesn't seem to be that much to shout about. This is the top-of-the-range diesel version with a 2.2 litre motor. It's got another 10 horsepower, it uses less fuel and has lower CO2 emissions, as you would expect. And on the chassis side, while all its best rivals have progressed to fully independent multi-link rear suspension, the Civic has decided to persevere with a torsion beam rear axle. Now, that was our biggest single criticism of the old car. Can it possibly be a good idea to stay with it? So here's the surprise. When I read the press materials for this car, I really didn't get my hopes up about it. It didn't seem to have an awful lot more to offer over the old one. But in fact, they've done a very, very good job on it, particularly given the limitations of its design. The engine doesn't have quite as much power as its rivals, but it doesn't feel to be lacking in performance. On the contrary, it feels really quite spirited. The power band is a little bit narrow, the gear ratios are a little bit high, but the engine is smooth, it is quiet, and if you get it on the boil, it's actually pretty effective. On the chassis side, it would be an exaggeration to call the car transformed, but it is no exaggeration at all to say that it has been improved beyond anything that I had imagined. Not only is this a surprisingly good fun car to drive, the handling is neutral and it's poised, the steering in particular is very good, but it also, and here's the real surprise, appears to ride quite well. So what's not to like about this new Civic? Well, there are the looks. They're not my cup of tea, I have to say, inside or out. And the cabin, there are too many cheap plastics, too many different grades of plastics. But also the dash, they've continued with this philosophy of having this digital upper dash with these lower analog dials. I didn't think it worked in the old car, don't think it works in this one either. But the problem this particular Civic has, which is the top-of-the-range GT model, is its price. It costs £26,595. That's 50 quid more than a 320d BMW. And however good it may be, it ain't that good. That said, if you do come down a grade to the EX level, you still get all the leather, you still get the sat-nav, and while still expensive, those cars are much more competitively priced. What Honda has created here is a very competitive family car. Now, if you look at it in terms of its space or its safety, its fuel consumption or its refinement, it's actually quite hard to think of another in the class that combines those elements together quite so well. Yes, a Focus or a Golf would be more fluent, and Alfa Giulietta would, I'm sure, be more fun. But nevertheless, this is a fully competitive product. And if you think of it in terms of the really rather unprepossessing product on which it is based, I'd say that's a real achievement.